Well, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us here on AccuWeather Weekend. I'm Bree.
And I'm Constanzer. We are still covering early June weather, which means sometimes strong thunderstorms, sometimes sunshine and warmth, and sometimes a lot of heat.
Yeah, it's this time of year where it's kind of a mixed bag, right? So let's take you right out to satellite and radar, get you started with what's on tap throughout the rest of the weekend, and even as we head into the beginning of this week.
And rain is on tap for some, especially across southern Missouri. There are a lot of flood warnings in place at this point in time, so we've been dealing with some very heavy rain. Also a dreary setup across the Northeast.
Yes, it's been very cloudy. It's been very damp, and you see why we do have some rain in the area, though we are going to continue to track when that rain will continue to shift out of the area and when we could even see a warm-up. Speaking of temperatures, Melissa, I mean, overall, yesterday, New York, you were
lots of large damaging impacts here. You can see some of the stormy weather that we found across the heartland over the past couple of days, and that includes wind, hail, and flash flooding. Now, we will have some of these storms through some of the south central U.S. continuing through today as we close out the weekend.
You know, the strongest thunderstorms through Sunday will carry the risk of producing a brief tornado, possibly. Even some of the more robust storms will dump about a half of an inch to an inch of rain over parts of the plains, but we could even see locally 2 to 4 times that amount, Melissa. So that's something you definitely have to be weather aware about. Never drive through those flooded areas. We're going to take you further north, though, first. Let's start you off in the Northeast, where we are tracking, again, some damp conditions to start.
And we are still talking about some of that wet weather, too. So we've been dealing with some showers, some thunderstorms, getting ready to come on in. And that's going to be our big story as we head through this week. The rainfall that continues to accumulate humidity in many spots, unless you're dealing with a lot of that rainfall coming in. And that rainfall is knocking on the doorstep in some spots. Places like Nashville, you've seen some showers out there and continue to deal with that potential of more rain. Lots of activity across Missouri. Just wanted to show you for a moment what's been going on. This cluster of thunderstorms led to damaging winds across Kansas throughout the overnight hours. Now it's the heavy rain through southern Missouri, and as this continues to push east, it will weten places like Tennessee, and even a few rumbles of thunder are still likely for the day in Nashville. Lots of activity right now over Chattanooga and the I-75 corridor, so a tough drive there in eastern Tennessee. As we go through the next couple of hours here, your Sunday does allow those temperatures to be limited where we've got the clouds and the rain, Nashville, Little Rock, but farther south, 96 in Montgomery, 91 in Atlanta, and of course we've already spoken to the heat in Florida. We've got more of that for us. Getting into your Monday, those thunderstorms, that boundary shifts its way south. And because of that, nicer air works into places like Nashville. So a little bit of a reprieve there in Kentucky, portions of Tennessee, because this boundary is going to work its way south. You can see it actually highlighted with some of the clouds there around Nashville as we head through the night. Ahead of it, showers, thunderstorms, still a possibility. Heading into tomorrow, that boundary is going to illuminate more activity and continue to slide to the south as we go through the rest of the day and into the afternoon and evening hours. So we still are trying to bring in that dry, a little bit more comfortable air mass while the warmth, the humidity stays. The problem with this boundary is it does get hung up. So showers, thunderstorms could become strong to severe as we head through to Monday afternoon into Monday evening across portions of Georgia, the Carolinas, and even into Florida.
Well, thank you so much for sticking with us here on AccuWeather Weekend. Summer is here almost astronomically, but meteorological-wise, meteorological summer has already started, and with the warms, I have to keep telling myself that insects are good. They do good things. The bad things, or even seeing them in the house, kind of overshadows that sometimes, but let's breathe and say, I guess they're good, right? Ugh. Anyways, let's take us out to satellite and radar, where we're not really dealing with too much here across the north central, but you will note that we do have some action there across the Rockies, and unfortunately, very typical for this time of year, some of those storms could turn a little strong at times, anywhere from Boise all the way across the northern Rockies, coming down through the Front Range. This wonky pattern here, we could see some severe weather, even extending right through parts of the south central and northern Texas in the Panhandle. Hail localized flash flooding, and we're not going to rule out some gusty winds anywhere between 55 parts of the central plains as well. Sunday overall breezy, dry and mild. Severe weather as we do head into Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, anywhere up and down that I-25 corridor from Minneapolis, Grand Forks, Watertown, Sioux Falls. One element again we could see is hail, downpours, localized damaging winds, and well, unfortunately, AccuWeather local storm max as high as 80 miles per hour.
Other parts of the southeast, it's going to be about that rain later on. Check out Florida as we go through the late week, Thursday, Friday, ramping up into Saturday. Even we're going to have some very heavy rainfall here. We're actually talking about a tropical rainstorm to contend with, and that means yes, we will be. Though the heat is on across Florida, we saw some of those views of the beaches earlier, and temperatures, they're going back into the triple digits, unfortunately, for several locations, including Jacksonville, Florida, Tallahassee. We're looking at 100 plus for afternoon high temperatures. Lots of sunshine out there. You're going to want to find ways to stay cool. I know a lot of places have pools in Florida, so it's probably pretty easy access, but also make sure you're using that pool safety if you're out and about. Leesburg, possibly another one. I showed you the rain in Tennessee. Well, here it is sliding its way east across the southeast today. The I-40 corridor dealing with quite a bit of wet weather. You can see that through southern Missouri at this point in time, some very heavy rain there, and 96 degrees for that high. Start to change things a little bit more because that same boundary drops south into tomorrow. Drier, nicer air towards places like Nashville, but the warmth still below it. So this is going to be what ultimately changes the scales a little bit for us as we find this frontal boundary. We want to thank you for sticking with us here on AccuWeather Weekend. We do have a lot to cover as we go through the summer weekend. And whether you're working outside or enjoying a little downtime outdoors, wearing sun, and I know it's not as fun, but the mineral sunscreen, I put it on my kids all the time, and I swear it works just that much better. You can really layer that on and block out a lot of the impacts of the sun. Of course, we are still talking about a bright day here across the north central tier of the nation. Des Moines, 82 degrees, mostly sunny skies. So it looks like a fantastic setup as we close out the weekend here. There will be some thunderstorms towards Rapid City and some of the high plains. As we get into Monday, though, a lot more action starts to work its way east through the Dakotas. So we will have more showers and thunderstorms as the cool weather keeps spinning here around the Great Lakes. So if you like that comfort factor, you're going to want to head to Green Bay, for example. 71 for the high, dealing with some of those thunderstorms, temperatures in the lower 80s. We will have some threat for severe weather through some of the high plains. It extends from Wyoming through the Dakotas. And this risk does include large hail plus a few isolated tornadoes. The core of this storm system, it's up in Canada. So we'll have some impacts as it slides its way on through. Here you can see Monday morning, it's up through southern Canada, with some of those thunderstorms trying to develop across eastern Minnesota and into Wisconsin. Well, when you're planning to, some great tips there as we talk about bringing your pets out and about to maybe some of those Gulf Coast pieces across Texas. Good news is if you're headed out today, thunderstorm threat does remain north of those beaches, but we will still have some strong to severe thunderstorms kicking up, especially as we go into the evening and overnight hours. So just watch out for more rainfall. It's going to be the usual type where these thunderstorms kind of develop here off to the panhandle region of Texas and Oklahoma, try to slide their way east as we head through the night. So Dallas, we're looking at 94 for the high, partly sunny skies, lots of humidity. Still an old boundary to the north in Oklahoma City that leads to the chance for some showers and thunderstorms. At least numbers there are a little bit lower. As we transition through for us, temperatures back to the 80s and climbing close to historical average then as we get rid of that chance for rain. So the good news is not overly hot as we head through the early half of the work week. Well, still to come.